Okay, I'm going to continually talk about this idea that's making the rounds, um, that you create your own reality. Well, it's very confusing because if you create your own reality, then how did all the physical things happen that brought you to your state of growth? I mean, if you observe the basic biology of a baby being born, it certainly is a physical thing. And then there's a lot of physical eating over the years, gallons of milk. So, how could it be that you create your own reality when it sure looks physical? It's very difficult to get your head around this. Someone says, even if you understand, no one really understands the science of how you create your own reality. I've been pondering the thought that these invisible chakra centers, like there's one up here, and maybe one that's up here, and one here, and one here, and one here, and then down the line, that perhaps the energy that's flowing through your internal canals, the Ida and I think it's the Pingala channel, and then maybe they come to the chakra, and maybe the chakra itself is projecting, each of the chakras is projecting, like projectors in a movie theater, each one projecting, and all together, all of those create your holographic reality. I've really been pondering this. I don't know how I'm going to prove it because I can't see chakras. I know where they are from the diagrams. I can't prove that they're even real because, well, I did feel a chakra in my hand about 10 days ago when I was feeling very energetically charged. I felt like there was energy pouring out of a chakra in my hand. So I'm going to say it's like a mulligan in golf. You know, a mulligan, it's like, it's like I made a shitty drive, and I'm just not going to count that one. Everyone agrees that we're all going to have a mulligan. So it's kind of like that's not the right word. It's another golf term. Provisional. It's provisional. That's a different one. And that one, it's not a bad, really bad drive where it just goes scamper, scamper, and what's 5 feet or something. A provisional is a ball that's not really a well hit ball. No, the first one that you hit. The second, I can't remember. But anyway, a provisional is like it's a do-over basically. So anyway, my provisional is I'm trying to work out this idea that the chakras are projecting our holographic reality around the body, and then it still runs into difficulties because what's projecting the hologram of the body? I guess I'm affixed to this idea because at one time I saw an old diagram where someone had a completely different way of understanding eyesight. We're taught with a physical body that light comes in to the eyes and then it hits the retina and it gets converted by the optic nerve and sent into, I don't know where exactly in the brain. So you could look it up where it goes in the brain, and that's where it's the visual cortex, wherever that is, and it becomes images. But this particular drawing that I saw many years ago, and I don't remember what book it was, if it was, well, anyway, it was the opposite. It was the lines were coming out of the eyes as if the eyes were projecting out. And I have no way of proving it or testing it, but it was a picture and it always stuck with me, the idea that we're projecting rather than receiving. So, how are we going to deal with this? Why do I think that reality is projected? Um, a nagging doubt kind of feeling, a nagging doubt. Someone else is saying, well, it's something to do with quantum physics. Yes, it's definitely quantum physics. Because the idea that this here table is a solid physical thing went out with Isaac Newton and Newtonian physics. Even though it appears to be solid, it appears to be solid, and this appears to be solid physical. We know that it has something to do with the observer effect in quantum physics, but I might be wrong because I'm no expert in quantum physics. Even though I talk about it a lot, I keep trying to. Oh, someone says, remember the beginning of the spiritual movie called The Secret. There was a little boy playing basketball, and they implied that. Um, what did they imply? They just implied that things weren't as they seem. But how do you prove it? How do you convince yourself? I mean, you'd have to basically say, I want to be in the middle of a basketball court now, and then have all your surroundings around you appear as a basketball court. But I'm looking around and I'm still in my basement. So I don't know how to do it. So I don't know if it's a no. I don't think it's just something you can read in a book. This is the biggest issue that we have is watching videos and reading books to get information. It goes into your mind, but it doesn't become part of your user. I mean, if you were learning to drive, you could read a driver's handbook, but you actually have to get in the car and sit in the driver's seat in order to figure out how to drive the car. I suppose, I mean, if they were smart, they would have in the department, the government department that issues driver's license, they could have a little video game where you sit in a booth that's designed to look like a car. They could have a projection screen and a driver's wheel, and you could learn to drive in a simulator. I don't know why they don't have it. It would probably make everyone feel a lot safer not having brand new beginner drivers driving around on your street going the wrong way. But if it's true that we create our own reality, somehow, I mean, they say you create. So, me, I create my own reality. How do I do it? Because if I don't do it consciously, it must be being done subconsciously. So, is it, I don't know. I just can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. It's, I'm coming to a dead end on this one. But something is creating this quantum reality that we experience that most people consider the physical world, but I consider it a quantum hologram. And I'm not the only one. I see these terms used more and more lately. The quantum hologram, how is it produced? And seeing as that we're the living things here on the planet at the top of the food chain, it makes sense to believe that we have something to do with it. Unless there's some hidden creator gods somewhere that are creating this quantum hologram. But again, I haven't looked into. I need to have a textbook on quantum physics, and then every time I look at a textbook, it doesn't always tell me the answer that I'm looking for. But I want to go back to, and maybe one of you out there is an expert on quantum physics, and what is the role of the observer? Because it seems to me that, best as I can remember, in quantum physics, the observer, um, looking or not looking, changes the quantum experiment, like the double slit experiments. So something to do with us being the observer changes the reality. And something I read today said, if you expect to see something in the quantum reality, that tends to generate that quantum hologram that you're looking for. So is that the idea of, if you visualize something in your mind's eye, that that's what appears outside of you, outside of your body? I'm connecting things with, those little dotted lines. I mean, I can't draw a straight line because I can't say for sure, but these are my speculations with dotted lines. Somehow that visualizing something here, it's what you expect to see in the quantum hologram, makes it so. Someone says, it's just that you're not taught this in public school, how to make something appear in your reality. In other words, if you want a wooden table, well, they send you to the carpenter shop, and you can learn how to do carpentry and build it the old-fashioned way with hammer, nails, and wood. So this new way of creating something, but in public school, they don't tell you that you're living in a quantum hologram. It's physicality. So they don't teach you from an early age. They teach you Newtonian physics from, I used to say, I think it's even like earlier, 1600s, whatever Newton was, 16 to 1700s. So that's the way they teach you. So we're really not being served by our public schools at all, are we? You don't even learn quantum physics until at least 11th grade, at least when I was in high school. So we're basically lied to. We're basically lied to by, the teachers are pretty much stupid. Everyone knows that, teachers can teach what's in the textbook, but it's rare when you get a teacher who can teach beyond the textbook. And they don't really have much motivation to do it anyway. They prefer to use last year's notes. Don't have. I was going to say I don't have a high opinion. No, I don't. I think that our teachers are. Um, they're good at teaching textbook, but what you really need. Some other people say. I mean, nothing to do with quantum physics, but people say, why don't teachers teach budgeting to children? Why don't they teach all about credit scores? Why don't they teach about mortgages? Why don't they teach all of anyway? Why don't they teach a whole pile of stuff that they don't? They just don't. So, and the teachers don't even have free will as to what they want to teach. They have to follow the curriculum set by the government. So you see, it's a brainwashing system. Everyone thinks public schools are, well, I mean, it teaches you to read and to do basic math. But as far as really teaching you stuff that, I mean, really, how was it that quantum physics was such a revolution and Einstein was such a revolution, but you don't get to it until the 11th grade, and nothing else in school is related to the most important thing that you're going to learn to get off of Newtonian physics and into the quantum world? Mm. Okay, so what else do I want to talk to you about? Well, I don't know. I think I've covered it all. It's a lot more questions than answers, but if you get some really good questions, then you can start um, questing for answers. Maybe you'll picture in your mind's eye someone giving you a video or a book about these questions and having all the right answers.